mind if I have a glass of wine, right?
Go ahead.
Not
at
all.
I'm
glad you're having fun. Well, I don't know. I don't know if this is PG-13. What?
No, yeah, you can swear if you want to. Feel comfortable, whatever you want.
Yeah, Italians drink wine at the age of freaking what, 6?
Yeah.
Yeah, pretty much. And we start pretty early, so. Very good.
Right. Hey everyone, Adam Lupis here from the Up and Adam Show, bringing you back the old school vibes of late night television. All right, David, welcome to the podcast. How's it going, man?
Good. How are you guys?
Doing fantastic. I see you got your glass of wine there. You're nice and relaxing. A nice, beautiful bar.
Absolutely. We're just had lunch, and now we can talk all things Italian, right?
Nice.
Is that what we're supposed to do?
Can't wait.
Mm-hmm. Of course.
Before we get started, quick thing actually, me and Mike were talking about before we started recording, before you came on. So we happen to send you 2 shirts. One of them actually was an accident. I believe it was Mike. Was it the gnocchi one?
Yeah. I think it was women. It was a woman's small or something. So
yeah, we messed.
It did make me look really buff. Listen, it did give me a really buffed look. So
yeah. Well, listen, in the 80s, apparently every person wore crop tops, and that was the thing, right? So
yeah. No, it's perfect. I gave it to my assistant, so it's good. She'll be wearing it proud.
Yeah, nice. we're gonna send you another one though, because we messed up on that one. I don't know, it was an accident.
No we wanted to make a joke about it because I saw wanted to see if it got delivered. I know with Canada it takes a little bit longer, and then I looked and I'm like, oh no, it says ladies. or was I supposed to wear it this for the podcast?
If you wore the woman's one, I'm sure that'd be nice too. If you wore imagine coming on, hey guys, how's it going? Oh man. But anyways, David, thank you very much for coming on. Before we get started too, tell the audience a little bit about yourself and what you do, and just kind of give a brief little introduction.
Oh wow, I haven't done that before. David Rocco, except at my AA meetings, right? But David Rocco, I shouldn't have made that joke. So David Rocco, I am a TV producer, TV host, and now a bar owner. We just opened up an aperitivo bar in Toronto, in Yorkville, and I'm a guy who likes to eat and drink and really, speak about all things Italian. So that's kind of what I do. I'm in the food and drink racket. That's awesome. And tell us a little bit more about your Italian background too. Well, I mean, I'm a kid who grew up in Toronto, actually in Scarborough. My parents are both Italian. Like many of us, they immigrated from Italy. My dad's from Naples. My mom's from Puglia, small little town. But I don't really say I'm from Puglia. It's always Napoli, and that's more of a function of we don't have relatives there. We've never visited because it's not Puglia, the region per se. It's a little small town in Foggia called the Monteleone, and I think there's probably 200 sheep, a couple of horses, and maybe 50 people the age of 80 there. But no, all kidding aside, we went once, and but my Italian background is really all things Napoli, and love the Neapolitan culture. But grew up in Toronto as an Italian Canadian in the 70s. I know I'm a lot older than you guys, and when being Italian maybe wasn't cool, I get my head fucking kicked in. I would get my shots, my slaps, because I was eating rabbit, rapini focaccias, all that kind of stuff, and all my I know for sure, but listen, we're talking the 70s when, the rest of the guys in my class, in my school, were having peanut butter, jam, bologna, and mustard. And, I just want to fit in. So, growing up Italian in the 70s in Scarborough. Sorry, who's American here? You're American, right?
Yeah, me.
Yeah. Okay. So, Wayne's World?
Yeah.
You've seen that film with Mike Myers. I mean, that's Scarborough, that's Scarberia. That's like really caker fucking culture, and anything else didn't go, right?
Yeah.
Italian, it was tough. Listen, we got our slaps. But hey, I brought that Nutella sandwich one day and life changed. I became God. Again, we're talking the 70s, right? The 70s, I mean, it was a different time. Being Italian, wasn't the coolest. And not that I ever was embarrassed, but, I wasn't super proud. My buddy had a rabbit as a pet. We had rabbits, to eventually ended up being on our table.
Yeah.
My hockey sticks were cut in 3 to hold up the tomato plants. I mean, that's how it was.
That's
right?
Awesome.
Yeah, that's awesome. And it's cool because, so you mentioned the 70s. My dad is
sorry guys, we're closed. Yeah, I'm so sorry. I'll close the door. Sorry guys, we just have to oh, thank you. That's so sweet. I appreciate it. Okay. Thank you.
No,
that was just my mom. I told her to come and say how amazing I am. Now, let me lock the door. Otherwise, we're gonna have
no worries,
people.
No worries.
Yeah,
you're fine.
But no, yeah, you guys can still hear me. Okay, good. We're gonna lock this door up. So yeah, no, in the 70s, it was a whole different racket. I mean, I think back and it's amazing, what's gone on with food in general. You have Indian friends that grew up in the same neighborhood, Bangladeshi friends that, we're all kids of immigrants, and we were all kind of like, we just didn't want to get our slaps too much when we were coming home from school, right? But now it's kind of fair game. Everyone loves their culture. Food is really in. I've made a career on eating and drinking, on doing TV shows in Italy, and it's totally different.
Yeah.
So yeah.
And I even want to talk about, at the beginning of your career as well, because like I mentioned, my dad grew up in the 70s as well. And my dad actually, he used to work at his old office, because he's an accountant, off of 4040 Steels. And you had a restaurant there called La Madonnina. And he used to go there all the time to eat and stuff like that. And that was like what, back in like the 90s, I'm guessing, right? That was a long time ago.
Yeah, that was late, that was early 90s, 90, 91. We were the first wood burning pizzeria in the city.
Wow, that's awesome.
Yeah, my wife and I, we were all like renegades. So we were kind of like cowboys. We always did things, a bit kind of different. And even with my TV show, I'm proud to say that we were one of the first shows to take food out of the kitchen and go and do it in Italy, traveling. And, at those times, our first series came out in 99. I don't even know if you kids were born, but in 1999,
I was born in March of 1999.
I'm
look
94.
At that. Well, we were, oh, wow, shit. We were already in Italy filming. I mean, we were already producing it in 98. And at that time, I remember buddies saying, oh, fuck, cooking show, like loser. Like, why would you do that? And I'm like, what do you mean? Why? I'm going to Italy. I'm going to eat, drink, and just do what I love. But, those times, no one did shows outside studio. You had, Emerald came out, a year after us in studio, but prior to that, it was Julia Childs, or if the Canadians remember, there was Pasquale. I mean, there was all that kind of old school style of doing TV. And we ended up doing a show, which we ended up, a really interesting story. My wife and I want to be filmmakers. And so we thought, gee, make a film sounds like a lot of work. How are we going to do it? I was acting, modeling. I was in the TV business, so to speak, as an actor, struggling actor. I mean, I did okay, but nonetheless, I wanted to kind of go to the next level and do a film. And my wife and I, we thought, okay, well, we wrote a script, and it's like, how do you get it done? And we had our acting class. Yeah, we're going to do it. Okay, we're all going to put in money, and it kept on being postponed. And no one kind of anteed up. Mm-hmm. So in 98, my wife and I go to Italy, and we're like, what, fuck, let's go shoot something. Let's just do a little video. And I had some friends that I knew when I was modeling in Milan that were kind of TV guys. I mean, back in the day, it wasn't cell phones, just grab your cell phone and start shooting. I mean, you had a pig of a camera, and these big Betacam tapes. I mean, it was a whole different animal, and it was a huge investment. So for me to call them and say, hey, can we go and film, and the boom mic and all that, it was a huge deal. So these guys, they filmed me around Florence doing some stuff, food and interviews and cooking, and so we came back. My wife used our wedding videographer to edit it, and we put it to Rosemary Clooney's Mambo Italiano, and we did a 5-minute trailer of this guy in Florence, and it was Cooking meets Lonely Planet, which was a show. I don't even know if you guys know it. Is a guy that went around the world, and it was like this hybrid of a cooking show, cooking and travel that no one had ever seen. And so we brought it to a producer, and they're like giving us this, yeah, okay, kid, like fuck off type thing. And we're like, just watch it, like 5 minutes. And I remember in his office, my wife and I are looking at each other, it's like, just fucking watch the show, just 2 minutes, So he goes, okay. And I remember he calling his assistant saying, okay, what time's my appointment? Just setting the table just to get rid of us politely. And puts a pig of a VHS in, it was back in the day. And we start watching. He's like, he's tapping his hand. He's what? He rewinds it, calls his assistant. He goes, yeah, call in so and so and so and so and so and so. And before we knew it, we were there for 2 hours with a whole production team, and they were blown away. And my wife and I, 6 weeks later, had a 26 episode series that was sold to PBS Canada, and we sold it to ABC in Australia. And it was all just from this little kind of demo thing that we did. It was pretty amazing when I look back. And so, and now fast forward to 2021, we've shot 210 episodes that have aired globally. I've been able to really do what I love, which is food, wine, Italy, and ultimately, that film I wanted to do. I'm like, nah, I'd rather do what I'm doing, which are really mini films. I mean, when we do an episode, it's like, there's the online, there's the offline, the online, the mixing, the, color correction. We're doing little films. And so, and it airs on professional television. So that's what we do.
Yeah. And how did you kind of see the opportunity with that? Because like you were saying, it was kind of out of the norm to do cooking shows outside of the kitchen. So were you just doing it because it was fun, or did you like see an opportunity that no one was doing it and kind of run with it? Or how did it kind of start in your brain?
Well, no, for sure. Good question. A bit of both. I think, we too many times you overanalyze things, you get paralysis of analysis. Oh, is this going to work? Part of it was, there was an opportunity that no one was doing. And my wife, she has a lot of vision. She can almost see the future. And she says, no, she's, you know what? All the chefs that are doing these TV shows are in studio wearing a chef's coat. And you're like, totally nothing like them. You have no training, and you love food, and you can cook. And we're going to do a show that is totally out of the norm. And we had no expectations except we wanted to do it. And if nothing else, we wanted to practice as producers to then go into being filmmakers, like feature films. Yeah. And I think it's a great lesson that, I've passed on to my kids now, is sometimes, the journey and doing something is more valuable than the outcome. Yes, we wanted to be filmmakers, but in the end, we didn't even get there. And we don't even, I can do a film like that. We can certainly do it. We know all the steps, we have the contacts, but at the end of the day, that whole journey of understanding how to do something from A to Z, and being able to develop a business, in part because we loved, food and wine in Italy and the passion of it. But at the end of the day, it was, the amazing journey. And ultimately it's where I think I needed to be, and where, I feel most comfortable.
Yeah, absolutely.
I love that.
And the thing I like the most about what you said too, is that, again, about the journey and everything, and just how it took a different route than you thought. Because for example, myself, I'm getting into the acting industry, and, I guess talk show hosting, I guess that's what you could call it for that industry. Yeah. And again, before that, I was doing a whole different thing, and my journey took a different path, right? And I think it's important to understand the journey you're going on. because sometimes people just look at their outcome or their end goal, but they're not noticing like the proper steps to get there. So sometimes they can make a wrong choice that can set them back so far. So it's all about, I guess, learning along the way and taking that one step back to go 2 steps forward. But what's cool, actually, I took from what you said was that you didn't have any formal training. You kind of just, again, loved food, you loved cooking. And I guess that kind of goes back to your Italian upbringing. I'm guessing you probably learned from your nonna, your grandparents, and I guess from your parents as well.
Yeah, but I think also it's a good example, and perhaps, it's a different generation. I don't want to sound like an old fuck right now, and a lot older than you guys, but there is, with the immediacy of social media, instant gratification. You post something, how many likes, and there's this thing that we want instant gratification with everything. And kids, when I was a young punk, I would go to a producer and say, I want to make this, show, or I want to make this movie. And they would say, oh, fuck, man, it's tough. Don't do it. And I was tenacious. Now I'm like that old guy when young kids come to me, I want to do it. And, I want to do this thing. And I'm like, oh, fuck, don't do it. And then I always step back and say, okay, so here's the thing. What is the motivation? Are you doing it for ego? And maybe there's a little bit of that in everything we all do, and certainly for me as well. But what is your end game? Do you want to really go through the work? Do you want to really put your everything on the line to make it happen? My wife and I on our show, because after the PBS show, we teamed up with a production company that we had a falling out because we were kind of the creative and they were like the money, and they thought it should be one way and we thought our show should be another way. And so we just kind of dissolved the production. We had a second season offering and we said no, and we went on our own because we had such conviction. But what I say to a lot of young kids is, if you really, really want to do it and you have the passion, you have the thirst for it, and you're not going to stop at anything, just do it. Just like the Nike ad, just do it. Stop making friggin' excuses. And if it means you have to go, be a dishwasher at nighttime to save up to go put that $5,000 video together to go to a producer and pitch it, then that's what you do. I said, but if you're not willing to put it in and you're not interested or willing to put your balls on the line, that's fine too. But you always have to ask yourself, what do I want? Am I really willing to go all out and do it, and really have the commitment? So I look back and, more doors said no than yes. And we eventually produced things on our own because we got tired of hearing no. So nowadays it's a lot easier on some level because, whether you do something on a cell phone or on YouTube, it can catch up, it can take off. But back in the day, it was really tough. But it comes back to anything. If you want something bad enough, just do it. Guys that want to be, I go speak to a lot of the culinary arts, the colleges and the chef schools. And first thing I ask, I go, hey man, you guys are all chefs. Hey, cool. Yeah, right. Okay, who wants to be on TV? And everyone puts out their hand. I said, what the fuck are you doing here? I said, go to acting class. I said, stop wasting your time. You want to be a chef? Then be a chef, and forget about all the glamour and all, because there's nothing glamorous. And when they hear that, and I said, okay, so who wants to leave now? And I know most of them probably want to leave, saying, oh fuck, and so sometimes you have to ask yourself, why am I doing this? Like, what is the real motivation? And if you're honest with yourself, I think you get to the place you need to get to faster. And so, but everything's possible. You just have to put the work in.
Mm-hmm. Agreed. And that's I was going to say, that's pretty much like a lot of entrepreneurs preach that kind of stuff, is like, think long-term and just, work hard every day, but think long-term. So it's kind of like the micro macro way to think of it. But, the one thing I found,
stop making fucking excuses.
Yeah.
I mean, everyone makes excuses. Even to open up a restaurant. Sorry to interrupt, but people say, oh my God, you just opened up a restaurant, a bar. And it's like, oh my God. And they go, yeah, but you have lots of money. I'm like, fuck that. I don't have lots of money, and I got more risk, and I got put my name on it. And, I got more risk than you guys. Thing is, people always say, oh, I don't have the money. I don't have to do this, or I want to be a chef. You know what? Go be a dishwasher first. Learn how to clean the dishes. Seriously, go learn how to clean the dishes, peel potatoes, whatever you want to do. Find a way of getting in to infiltrate. I used to be a stand-in. I used to be an extra guy. because I knew once I got out of the business and got a real job, I can't go to the auditions. So my goal was, how am I going to stay in the business long enough to get that break? I did extra work. My agents were saying, you're a loser if you do extra work. Real actors don't do extra work. I was doing photo doubling. I photo doubled for Matt Dillon on 2 of his films. To Die For, I was actually in 2 scenes. And literally, I got to see Gus Van Sant, a brilliant director, direct. I got to see Matt Dillon, Nicole Kidman. I got to be on set. And I got to see what a fucking shitty job it was, how hard it was. And you better fucking like the job, because if you don't, you're not going to do it. You're not going to have the balls and the guts to stay in it. And so that kind of life lesson was transferable into everything I do. And, it's about being committed to that end goal, that end game. And not all of us want to do it.
Is that kind of what keeps you, because I know you preach a lot about being in the present moment. And I just know, like, just even with my business, it's very hard to do because you have so much pressure. This is happening, that's happening, and you're involved and have a lot more risks than I do. So I'm kind of curious, like, how do you make sure to stay in the present moment when you own a business and you have so much going on? Like, what keeps that going for you?
Well, I think this was an interesting period in my life right now with the pandemic, because it gave tremendous opportunity and some opportunities that wouldn't have come up if I kept on traveling. So we were off to do another series. I had just finished shooting a series, Southeast Asia, and lockdown happens. And so we were editing, and I'm walking home and I see this place. I said, yeah, I'm going to do it. And so I took this leap. But I think you have to decide whether you want to put the work in and whether you want to, and also have fun. So whatever I do, it's because I have fun and I absolutely love it. And, I'm here now a lot because my name's on the sign, and I know, it's an easy thing to fuck up on, food and beverage. This industry is really tough. Mm-hmm. So, I always say to my kids, I'm hoping that I can be an example to you of hard work. If you can outwork your competition, you can outwork people, you'll succeed. And if you love what you do, then it's not even work. It's literally just being, and you're there. And so I recognize I'm lucky, and I've worked hard. My wife works hard. We've made tremendous sacrifice. And a lot of people just see the fruits of it. They see a place, oh cool, he's eating, drinking, he's holding court, has a restaurant, he's got a TV show. Yeah, that's real cool. He's really lucky. I've been lucky. I've worked hard. But ultimately, I think both of us have come from this idea of commitment, working friggin' hard, and doing whatever it takes to be successful. And I think if you decide that you want to be successful and you want to work hard, you're going to make it. You're going to do whatever it takes to make sure that you're going ahead.
Yeah, absolutely. And even, like, for example, you mentioned how some people, like, you went to those chefs and you said, oh, who wants to be on TV? And then you told them how it's going to be hard work and all this stuff. But again, it's all about passion. I think, the one thing I think Mike's going to appreciate me saying this, because it's a thing that Gary Vee said about being lazy and stuff, and how he doesn't believe lazy is I forgot the exact thing he said.
Yeah, he doesn't think it's a bad thing, basically, because if you're lazy about it, then it means you're not passionate about it. Basically.
Exactly.
Well, whatever. Yeah, for sure. No, absolutely.
Yeah. And I think that, so I think it all depends. Like, look, someone can want to be a famous actor. Okay. And they may think they're passionate, but I think once they go into it and they really see the hard work, and if they're not as passionate, like if they end up quitting, that means it ultimately wasn't for them. They're not passionate enough. I think anything in life is doable. When people tell me, oh, Adam, that's so far-fetched, or oh, that's like very hard to do, or this, that, all these excuses, there's excuses to me. I phase them out now, because if someone has done something in life, it's proved to be possible. That's what I believe in, especially.
Well, the other, no, for sure. And the other thing is, which I think is really important. I actually talked to a friend of mine who consults with me, and she's brilliant. And, it was the idea, okay, I'm putting my balls on the line. I'm putting my reputation on the line, because everyone loves to criticize. You open up a restaurant, a bar, everyone, my mom's eggplant parm is fucking better. My meatballs are this. Oh, fuck, I'm better than that guy. Especially
you can't beat your mom.
Especially. Oh, fuck you. I can beat, our meatballs and our eggplant is the best. No, but the funny thing is, I'm joking, bring her over. But the idea that I went and I put my kind of stuff on the line, my name on the line, was really scary. Honest, I went through about 6 weeks after I decided to sign the lease, and we got our signage, and we spent 30 grand on the sign. Like on the front, not just on the side. And I remember going into fucking panic, and I said to my wife, "Oh my God, what did I just do?" And I was speaking to a friend of ours, and I remember she said something that is so important. I think it's important to what you guys just said earlier. And it's not so much about being lazy or this or that. I think so many of us, me included, and I saw it 3 months ago, we're afraid of failing. We're afraid of not being successful. We're afraid of being ridiculed. We're afraid of someone saying it's not good. And now every asshole has an opinion with a cell phone on Google Review. Yeah. And, it's perfect. Everyone is a critic. But she said to me, she goes, embrace the journey. Like this is such an amazing time for you that you're not traveling because you're stuck in the pandemic, and it was during lockdown. You're able to spend time with your family, with your wife, and you're able to do a creative project that you've always wanted to do. Because this wasn't a restaurant, it was an aperitivo bar. Italian tapas, fun food, cicchetti, wine, everything I loved about Italy, I was actually creating. And I had this opportunity, but I wasn't sleeping for about a month. I was like, wow. There were moments where I went into panic. And she said, just embrace the opportunity, the journey, and just enjoy the ride, because she said, I think it's going to be successful. Mm-hmm. She goes, I know it's going to be successful. And deep down you do too, but you're afraid. And she goes, and that's all cool, but recognize it, embrace it, enjoy, and then just go through the journey. And when she said that, a light went off, and I said, why am I doing this? I'm doing this almost for myself. And when you kind of come from that point of view, I want to be an actor. I want to be a lawyer. Why? Not for my parents, not for this, not for myself. And when you come at it from that point of view, then you can move forward. And then the outcome doesn't matter, because you're going through the journey and there's no competition, because you're only doing it for yourself. And to this day now, if we get killed on a Google review, I don't give a shit. We don't even look at it, because I know the meatballs are exactly the way I love them, how I serve them at my house, the eggplant parm, the music, the wine, the vibe, the attitude. I love it all. And I'm like, why did I do it? I did it for myself. You know what, guys? We don't even have a fucking phone. We have no phone number. We don't take reservations. Wow. We don't answer the phone. We don't have a phone because we don't care. You want to come in, you come in. For seats. No seats.
That is the Italian way.
And that's it. Of course. But try doing it in Toronto. Try doing it in Chicago. You get killed. What do you mean you don't have what do you mean you're not on 24 demand? What do you mean I can't book? What do you mean you don't serve coffee? What do you mean? I'm like, no, we have a coffee machine. We don't serve coffee. We serve it if you deserve it. We serve it if we feel like giving it to you. We serve
That's a good slogan. That is a great slogan.
We serve it because it's part of our food experience, not because it's on our menu. This is my home. It's an extension of who I am. And so, there's been an incredible journey for us, my wife and I. It's like, this is fun. And suddenly the tough restaurant business, we flipped it over because we're like the anti-restaurant. This is almost an extension of who we are, our belief system, our home. And when people come, they feel it. There's a certain vibe. That's our awesome. Waiters are really cool. There's a certain attitude, but not that we're better or worse. No, it's just, this is how it is. Yeah. And it's okay if you don't want to come. It's okay, but this is how we do it. And that's it.
Like and that I think it's good for anyone.
Hey, Mike, hey, Mike, I think we should end this podcast and just go straight to David's aperitivo bar right now, because I'm craving everything that you just said, all the good meatballs and everything. But David, it's crazy. I know your food's amazing, because during the pandemic, when in the midst of it, I was watching your YouTube videos and your Instagram stuff. I actually used one of your recipes and I made it for my family. They loved it. I mean, obviously I didn't make it as good as you, but it was the squash.
I'm sure you killed it.
It was I believe it was a squash risotto. I got it when it was like the vegetable. One. It was delicious with the white wine and everything.
Yeah, amazing. I'm sure you knocked it out of the park.
I would hope so. But I want to talk about your show, La Dolce Vita. Sorry, I said that. I worded that so bad. Sorry.
No, you said it perfectly.
Dolce Vita. There you go. Sorry. No. Anyways, but which means the sweet life for people who don't know, who are not Italian. Let's just say you're not. So I want to talk about that quickly too, because you travel all around the world, you meet different people, all these different cultures. And I want to know what it's like to go to these places and just kind of embrace other people's cultures and learning about different foods. You mentioned growing up, all you knew about was Italian food. And I guess going to these different places, have you kind of, I guess, implemented a lot of these recipes in your everyday lives and stuff?
Well, I think if we look back in our life and we look back at, these moments that have happened, sometimes they're gifts, sometimes they've set us up to where we need to be and where we are now. And, I look at me doing, acting and modeling, and now being a producer, and now being able to do a film if I wanted to. And I look back growing up in Scarborough, where there was a lot of Canadians, different cultures, mostly Canadians, and how I felt about being Italian and all the rest of it, and what food means to me. And what was interesting is all that has taken me to where I am now. And I've been able to create Dolce Vita as our first season. And then from there, we went in and we did Dolce India, we did Dolce Africa, we went to Ethiopia, Kenya, Tanzania, South Africa, Zanzibar. We've been to Kashmir. We did our latest series, which comes out next month, is Dolce Southeast Asia, Vietnam, Cambodia, all the way to Singapore. And everything remained true, is me, my love of Italian food, and using food as that way to connect with people, and that way to break down barriers and break down stereotypes. And at the end of the day, the universal truth is we all eat. We might not all drink. We might not all, eat pork. We might not all be meat eaters, but we all eat. And eating is comforting. It's love. It's a way of really bonding. The reason why I say this is because when I was in Scarborough, my dad and mom were hairdressers, and it's a great job because they got to deal with people. My dad was like a therapist. My mom was, and so as immigrants, they also got educated talking to other people, different cultures. But one thing my parents taught us as kids was the power of food and how powerful it can be to connect with each other. So on our street, we had the Robinsons, the Ramseys, the Johnsons, the O'Reillys, the Chins, and then the Roccos. We lived on like this cul-de-sac. And we were the outsiders for sure, but my parents were loved, and we were one of those families that got along. But what my mom always did, my mom always invited people over for dinner. And we're talking the 70s, early 70s. She'd make lasagna, which back then, if you had spaghetti and meatballs, that was fucking gourmet. Like that was like really large. Like, okay, let's not think like back in the 70s is how it is now. In the 70s, like spaghetti and meatballs was gourmet. So my mom would do things like eggplant parm, veal cutlet with mozzarella and whatever, rabbit. She would make all these dishes that, the neighbors were like, holy shit, this is amazing. And I remember, one of the first dinners, I'm like 5, I meet my buddy, Mark Johnson, who, is, we're just getting to know each other. My parents invite his family over, and Mark has a pet bunny. We have rabbits. So we're eating. My mom is like, cooking a rabbit, la cacciatora. And I remember Mark saying, "Oh, Mrs. Rocco, this chicken is really good." She goes, "No, sweetheart, it's rabbit." And he starts crying. I start crying. Fuck, you make me embarrassed. But in all the chaos and the comedy, because I think this is a universal truth with any immigrant, you always feel like an outsider. What I realized was how important food is, and how food can bring people into your home, and you can go into someone's home, and there's a democracy, and there's an equality, and there's something really beautiful. And so my mom and dad demonstrated that time in and time out. So as a young kid, seeing that when I was 5, 6, 7, and then taking that skill that I saw my parents do to fit in and really to connect with others, I went around the world and I did the same thing. And I really look at that as being moments in time that were so etched in my memory and in my DNA that I used Italian food to travel the world. I went to Kashmir, I went to India, I've been to Barcelona, I've been obviously throughout Italy, but going to Vietnam, Cambodia, Brazil. I mean, I've been to so many countries through food, through Italian food, almost like an Italian ambassador. And here I am being an Italian Canadian. And I'm thinking, fuck, man, I'm really lucky. And I think it was those early days where I got to see how food can really connect.
Yeah, the power of it.
And yeah. And so, to this day, I use food, Italian food, to travel the world, to see the world. And it's been an amazing ride.
What's your opinion on like Italian food and Italian American food? Because I feel like a lot of people get them mixed up and confused, and then especially when we post it on our page, like people nitpick if something's American. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So listen, I have to tell you something. I love Italian Americans, right? Because they have so much fucking heart. They got, there's something so genuine and so real, and they don't try and impress. This is how it is. And, whether you like it, good. If you don't, go fuck yourself, right?
Yeah.
And they're almost like Italian Montrealers are the same. Italian Montrealers, Italian Americans are cut from the same pot. I have friends in Montreal and they're Italian. I love them. Italian Torontos are different, right? The guys that are Italian, because there's like a snobbery. Oh no, this is not what you do. And it's like this, it's like we're refined and we think we're like the fucking cats now. And we're like, we're the shit. And I hear it all the time. Oh, it's not how we do it. So to answer your question, is it Italian food? No, but it's okay, because Italian food evolves. Italian food now is different than it was 25 years ago. Listen, I remember, when I first did my first series, people saying, oh, you don't put Parmigiano with seafood. And maybe not. I'm not saying you shouldn't, but I've been in the last 5 years to some of the best Italian restaurants, Michelin star, where a little bit of Parmigiano Reggiano with cozze and zucca, pumpkin squash in a risotto is used as almost as a butter. They don't put butter, they put that, just a little bit. And I know that some of the Italian Americans were putting that, forever and a day. So, I've become, as I get older, I'm like, what? Fucking live and let live. Don't bust chops. Don't break everyone's balls. You think you're the best or you're reach. Like, oh, everyone should go and fucking take a pill. And everyone just relax. Like, what? Like, if you 100%. Like how it tastes and it tastes good, great. Fuck off everyone else.
Yeah, right? I was gonna say, is that the criteria? If it tastes good, it's okay.
Listen, sometimes, just because something tastes good, more of it doesn't make it better. And sometimes, for the sake of Instagram, there's this craziness of this excessive bullshit of putting more mozzarella and this, and it looks, and it's disgusting.
Yeah,
and that's not an Italian American thing. That's not an Italian thing. That's just stupidity. And you see it on the Food Network. Those 100%. Bozos try and put more crap and try and make things so it's garbage. Yeah, and it's just garbage, right? So I'm of the belief that there's been amazing Italian American food. And there's something really heartfelt and it's beautiful, because some of those dishes almost don't even exist in Italy. Right? Yeah. They're from the immigrants that came, whether it was to Philly or Boston or wherever, and they couldn't find certain things, so they used something else, and they made it work, and it's friggin' delicious. Mm-hmm. And it's totally cool, right? So, listen, it's one thing when it comes to Italian food, real Italian food, I'm a purist when it comes to the ingredients, but I like kind of having fun in the kitchen. I like kind of making dishes my own. And you know what? It's not that one nullifies another. So
you know what? I agree. And you know what, awesome. David, it's crazy because in Italy, apparently they don't have like veal Parmigiano sandwiches. They don't do that stuff.
Well, even Alfredo, which we all know that, right?
Yeah, they don't do that.
They don't have that shit, right? No, absolutely. And I'm not saying, I like that, because I don't, quite frankly. I don't like any creams. But there's a genuineness about that food. And there's a reason when you look into why they made certain things. Because in Philly, they couldn't find X ingredient. Or here in Toronto, they couldn't find this. So why did they get... why did they use that, or why did that dish come to be? Well, because that was a substitute. So, it's all good.
Yeah. Well, since we're on the topic of food, actually, we want to play a quick little fun game, and then we have a couple more questions after.
No problem.
This or that Italian food edition. Okay. Now, I want to see your picks. Mike, do you have the website too that I sent you? We'll go back and forth on it.
Yeah, I do. But yeah, go ahead. Yeah. Go ahead.
Okay, so I'll start it off. Okay, David. So
yeah.
Let's see. Okay. This would probably be an easy one to start off.
Okay.
Caprese salad or prosciutto with lemon?
Prosciutto with lemon.
I know, I never heard of this. Yeah, but it's on there.
Prosciutto with lemon or prosciutto melon?
Melon.
Oh,
melon, not fucking lemon. Oh,
I love lemon. That's why. Hey,
you better not edit this shit out.
I need glasses for this. Prosciutto and melon.
Yeah. I was like, prosciutto and lemon. I go, interesting. I don't think it works, but fuck. Gee, you know what? That's a tough call. Prosciutto and melon, not lemon. Melon is pretty wicked when it's like that. You know, when the seasons are respected, and you have that really sweet melone. So prosciutto and melone. Yes.
Oh, I never had it before, and I was surprised you said that.
Really? It's good.
Dude.
It is
Yeah.
good.
Nice.
Yeah, Adam. Some of these, this food on this site, it's funny. A lot of them are Italian American too, for sure. I'm glad I asked about it. But all right, how about fried zucchini flowers or calamari?
Ooh, fuck! Even a shoe is good fried. That's a hard question. Oh, you guys are. Okay, so fried zucchini flower only if it has anchovies and mozzarella inside. If it doesn't, I want the fried calamari.
Yeah.
and the fried calamari has to be just flour. No bullshit breadcrumbs, nothing.
No,
just flour.
Just flour. Nice and simple.
Just flour. Exactly. None of this heavy stuff.
No, that's a good one.
See, I'm not even answering. I'm modifying, saying how I like it.
Exactly. That's how it should be, though. Exactly. Okay, this is a good one, and I think I know which one you're gonna pick too. Bruschetta or antipasto?
Well, what kind of antipasto?
Okay, let's say
antipasto just means it can be a 1,500 different things.
How about antipasto with soppressata, calamata olives?
Okay, now I'm gonna break balls. Okay, that's nice. Now I'm gonna break balls. What kind of bruschetta? Because traditionally, see, now I'm becoming an asshole, right? Traditionally,
I like it.
No, traditionally in Italy, bruschetta means grilled bread, and grilled bread. And what you do is, in Florence as well, they do fettunta, which is basically rubbed garlic, and then they put olive oil and salt. So that's bruschetta, or bruschetta could be different toppings. I know us Canadian, American, Italians, it's only one way. It's chopped tomatoes on top with olive oil and garlic, blah, 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 right?
Yeah,
so,
yeah, that's the one I'm talking about,
yeah. I know you are. So I know, I'm such a prick, right? Only if the bruschetta that you're talking about, that I know with the tomatoes, is like in late August and September. Give me the same dish in January, I won't eat it, because those tomatoes that come from California that have been sitting on a truck and that come in and they're tasteless, that taste like crap, I don't want on my bruschetta.
No.
Okay, am I right?
Yeah, you're right. My dad's in, like, he sells produce for his job, so it's like, if the tomatoes are bad, he freaks out. Yeah.
And especially, see, this is the thing that pisses me off about us in North America. We're a demand society. We want everything on demand, and so we don't understand that certain ingredients need to be respected, and and they're seasonal. Tomatoes now in August and September, fucking rock. Not in January.
Yeah.
Okay. So 100%. Go. I'm gonna shut up now. Okay.
No, you're good.
Mike,
you're good.
We got two more. Mike, you do one. I do one.
All right. Good, because I'm getting hungry just freaking reading these off. All right. Eggplant parm or chicken parm?
Eggplant parm, and chicken parm doesn't exist. Come on.
Yeah. I know. I had a feeling that was a
See, that is Italian American.
Yeah.
Eggplant parm, and again, don't break balls. It can't be with breadcrumbs. It has to be just flour. The eggplant has to be floured, fried, and then the layers.
Mm-hmm.
That's good. That's good too. And last one, David, we got to go in here too. Lasagna or ravioli?
Oh, lasagna. So lasagna. I always get journalists asking me, desert island, your last meal, what would it be? Lasagna, and then for dessert, a really good fucking burger.
For dessert, wow, look at that.
Well, I mean, my point is, those are my two favorite foods.
Yeah,
I mean, a good lasagna and a
lasagna?
good burger.
How do you make your lasagna?
Meat.
Is yours heavy? Is yours real heavy, or is it kind of light?
No, mine's heavy and dry. None of this with tons of bechamel and all.
Oh, I don't like that. I'm glad you said that. Yeah,
fuck you. You're not invited. No, it has to be. Oh, you don't like bechamel? I thought you don't like my style.
No. I don't like bechamel. I don't like bechamel.
Yeah. No, I like it almost dry. Not when I say dry, like almost not too. Some have it too like watery, and I like it where it's a bit drier. And
even
meat
like
sauce
even the
has to be a meat
pasta
sauce.
when the pasta's a little bit dry too, right?
Yeah, crispy on top, and
that's how
really
I like
good.
it. That's
Absolutely.
how I like it.
Okay, we can be friends now.
Good. I was gonna say you were gonna uninvite me. I was gonna cry now. I was gonna
no, because I thought you said you didn't like it. Like I was like, what are you doing?
No, never. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Well, you know what? Before we end off the show here, Mike, unless you have another question to ask,
go ahead.
I was gonna say, David, before we end off, you have anything would you like to promote? Any upcoming things you like to share with our audience?
No, you guys are cool. You guys have been a lot of fun. You know, it's been great to almost walk down memory lane. How long have we been talking now for? Like almost an hour.
Almost
right?
45 minutes at least.
Yeah. I mean, it's pretty crazy. It flew by, right? It's amazing.
I'm glad we had a good time. I'm glad you enjoy it.
Yeah. No. You know what? I invite you guys both to come to the bar, have some cicchetti, some aperitivi, some little Italian snacks, and a glass of wine. So
I'm gonna see you next week.
Appreciate that.
Anytime, just come.
Hold me to my word. I'm gonna be there next week.
You come and Mike, you know what? I think we're letting Americans in now, so you can come up.
Yeah, for real. I have some cousins in Toronto too, so I'll definitely have to stop by next visit for sure.
Okay, just shoot me a text and you're my guest.
I got you.
Thanks, David.